before I started practicing nervous system regulation, I had these huge blow up fights. You know the ones. Screaming, slamming doors, swearing, spiraling out of control, where I could not pull myself out of for the life of me. It was so freaking challenging. I was overcommitting myself. I was just taking on more and more tasks without actually thinking about it, about all of the rest of the things that I had on my plate already. I was keeping track of appointments and everything in my head, right? Like keeping up with appointments, trying to run my whole entire house, managing my twin toddlers, doing everything else. It was actually insane. Everything on the outside looked fine. Like I was keeping on top of it. I was super mom, keep doing all the things. On the inside though, it was a completely different story. I was talking about nervous system regulation and knowing all of these tools, but I was struggling to actually apply them in my own life. The things that I knew about was that I should be prioritizing sleep, but I was stuck in this doom scroll where I couldn't pull myself out, or I'd be like, one more chapter, or it's wanting to stay up and hang out with my partner because he had been at work all day and I barely got to spend any time with him, or I'd go to the gym in the evening and then still be wound up when I got home. I would be trying to keep track of everything in my head because I didn't have a planner, or if I did, I would be really good about using it for a couple weeks and then it would just go into the graveyard. You know what I mean? And I was very inconsistent about practicing deep breathing and pausing before reacting to things. I was struggling so bad. And the moment I knew I needed to actually practice was that my brain would feel so freaking busy. Like I had 47 tabs open at the same time trying to manage everything. And then it would end up turning out to be that I would spend 8 hours scrolling on my phone because I was so dysregulated and just numbing out. That felt better. Or I'd be puttering around my house and not able to sit down. I would be screaming, getting frustrated with my kids because of seemingly small things. I would, they would tip over they'd be running around the table, tipping over chairs, going and pulling out leaves off my plants, and I would lose my shit, lose my mind. I was acting like a crazy person. My husband could always tell, especially when I was really dysregulated near when my period was about to happen, because I would be losing my mind. And then I started actually applying things. I finally had this moment where I was like, you know what? I cannot continue to talk about nervous system regulation and loving everything that all the benefits that can do for you, but not actually applying them to my own life. That doesn't make sense. That's like a hypocrite, right? So then I made a decision. I was like, you know what? Let's actually start applying these things that I'm learning about. Let's actually figure out if any of these things is actually not even just going to help me with my dysregulation, but also maybe helping me with my ADHD as well. And so I started practicing. I started doing daily meditations. Instead of doom scrolling, I would start listening to an audiobook. I was leaning more into daily movement, making it a completely non-negotiable. And what I've noticed is all of a sudden my focus went up. I never had a focus issue. It was a dysregulation issue here. It was a capacity issue. Or no, it wasn't a capacity issue. This was dysregulation. All of a sudden, my phone use went from 8 hours a day down to 4 or 5 hours. That's a huge difference. The patience that I had with my kids, all of a sudden, that went up because I was able to actually take a minute and be like, oh, you know what? They're actually just toddlers doing toddler things. And probably just looking for attention because all I was doing was sitting there doom scrolling on my phone. So they probably were looking for attention and trying to get attention in any way possible. You know what I mean? So because that's what kids do. They want attention, and they crave that attention, and they don't care whether that attention is going to be positive or negative. They just want the attention. So I was like, so when I'm sitting there in front of them just scrolling, yeah, I'd want attention too. That makes sense. I would start acting out too. And all of a sudden the whole house felt calmer. The biggest thing that I've noticed is like my husband was literally like, I didn't know when your period was about to start this past month, because normally you are being way less patient. He's like, I didn't even realize until you told me that, hey, it was my first day. And he's like, what? The whole house felt calmer. There was a whole huge shift in the house. All of a sudden my kids are not tipping over chairs. All of a sudden they're actually listening to me. It was crazy. Like the hugest shift that I've ever felt. Like just insane. And it's just also with my body where I'm like, I'm not feeling like I'm needing to reach for my phone and make sure that I'm keeping up with all of the conversations that are happening in group chats. It's okay to put the phone down and just walk away and go and be present with my kids. I'm not going to miss anything. Those things are still going to be there. And so these common misconceptions that we have about, regulation is insane. All of a sudden we're like, people end up, thinking that they need to, in order to regulate themselves, they need to relax. So they sit on the couch and they sit there and they doom scroll. That's not regulation. That's just numbing. Or they're like, oh, we need to calm down. So they reach for a glass of wine. The thing is that you can't relax your way into regulation. That's not a thing that can happen. Your body actually needs to feel safe. You need to teach your body what safe feels like. And so if you're looking to actually start leaning into what that could actually look like for you, I have some ideas that you should start trying to do. And that could look like trying to do daily movement, going outside for a walk, even if it's 10 minutes or it's just around the block. That's going to clear your mind so much. If you have a million things that you think that you know that you need to do and they're all just jumbled up in your head, write them down. Make that commitment to yourself to actually sit down, plan out your week, what your appointments are. Or if somebody says, hey, I need you to do something on this day, literally write it down. Because that's a huge thing that I've noticed. If I don't write it down, that thing is not going to happen. It's not there. It's like out of sight, out of mind. So if I write it down, not only have I gotten it told to me, but I've also visually made a point of putting it in there that I know that this is happening on this date. That's my biggest things, my biggest takeaways that I can possibly do. Regulation comes from making your body feel safe. You can help clear your mind and settle your body and help bring you back into safety by doing the daily movement, doing a daily meditation, writing things down, planning your day out. So you know what's coming. There's no surprises. You know where you're supposed to be. If any of this resonates with you, keep following along because I'm going to have way more regulation tips and tricks. And I would love to help you along on your journey.